Hey, it's John Shapiro, here we go. Knows the road rules better than most folks know. Ask your questions, bring the heat or keep it chill. He's got the answers and a license to spill. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. Badge, now a podcast star, navigating traffic laws near and far. Stop sign confusions or a signal light feud. Sean's the one to give you the right attitude. Yeah, ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. From this man. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie.
What's going on? Happy Wednesday. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your drivers are at? No, I mean it seriously. Do you know who's driving your car right now? That seems to be one of the issues surrounding the automatic, speed enforcement program. Sometimes it's not me driving my car and I get a ticket and it's just not fair. Ooh, be careful who you loan your shit to. Oh, did I say that? I said that. Seriously, be careful who you loan your stuff to. Woo! It's one of those mornings. I'm having a high energy morning. It is a good day here. Lots of exciting stuff coming. I am happy to announce some stuff in a little bit, but I wanted to also tell you that we had an amazing episode last night. We were live for 2 hours, and I say we because I was joined on screen by Brian Max. He is a race car driver, a reviewer of cars. He's a journalist. He's a guy who likes cigars. He's a good guy. And he was in the show for the night, and we had a good time. So much so that we spoke for 2 hours. We talked about speed cameras. We talked about different stuff and things. If you want to check it out, it's available online on YouTube. You can listen to it in replay. Now, if you are just jumping in for the first time, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And the goal is to teach you stuff and things so you don't break the law without realizing it. Listen, if you choose to break the law, that's on you. And truthfully, if you break the law because you didn't know the law, that's also on you because you're responsible regardless if you're learned or not. I want to help bring you up that educational level so that when you make mistakes, they're mistakes and not just ignorance. Yeah, sounds terrible, sounds rough. It's what it is. Hockey Dad says, happy hump day. How you doing? It is hump day. We're on the top of the mountain on the way down towards the weekend. We're halfway there, folks. Deason says hello. It says he's on the road, but not currently, though. He's parked. Devnish says hello, Toronto DJ. Chris Reynolds says, I'm a tow truck driver out here in Niagara. Hollyman area, I see so much on the road. I have no doubt that you see everything, and you see the consequences of people's poor decision making when you actually have to go pull them out of the ditch. I'm sure we could talk a lot about that. He goes on to say he sees a lot of distracted driving because it's an epidemic. People can't put their stuff down. They are tied to those devices. They absolutely can't control themselves anymore. That's why a $615 ticket and demerit points and suspensions are what people need to motivate them. And what we're really missing is the enforcement to really cement that, because people know it's against the law, and every red light I go to, I see people on the road. Actually, almost every Tesla I see is in autopilot with someone typing away. And if you didn't know already, let me bring you up to speed. It is illegal for the driver of a Tesla who is in autopilot, full self-drive, to be on their phone. It's still illegal. They're not in an autonomous vehicle. They're in a vehicle that is running beta software, and they are the supervisor. He has to be ready to take control of that vehicle at any time. I recently borrowed a Tesla Cybertruck for an overnight test drive, and I was really shocked. It was uncomfortable to be in a car that was driving itself, at least for 5 minutes, and then I got really used to it. And you want to start doing other things. So I understand the draw, thinking that the computer's got you. But there's a lot of times it doesn't. It did things that were absolutely incorrect, and I had to take over. But it was only when the computer said, "Hey, you can't take your eyes off," that I realized how much it was watching me. It was creepy. But the deal is still, you're just supervising the car. And as a supervisor, you're responsible. So you're still driving. I've had lots of people come to court and say, "But I got a ticket for driving for distracted driving, but I wasn't driving. The car was." Where were you sitting? The driver's seat. If you sat in the passenger seat with the car go, no, you were driving. We'll get there one day, but we're not there yet. Anyway, if you got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, please put them in the chat. And another thing to mention is that last night's show, we made the lines available. Well, kind of, sort of. I don't have a telephone line coming into the show, but I did have a Zoom link. And if anyone emailed the show email address, I was sending them, or willing to send them, an invite to join the show on screen. Guess what? No one took me up on it. I did get someone who wrote in saying, "Hey, I'm in my pajamas. Otherwise, I'd totally join you." So next time, it's going to become a regular thing where guests are welcome. Okay. Akela Draconis in with greetings and salutations from Maddock. That's the new spiel. Oh, 1 second. Got to lean down here, get my iPad. I forgot to bring it up. I was in a meeting, and that meeting was a good one. I'll have more on that once the press release comes out. I'm excited to share with you the deets of I'll share them when I can share them. Now, Brandon comes in and says, "Hello, Sean and all from Orangeville, having a relaxing day, making a fresh batch of sweet Italian sausages." Sean, there's a batch with your name on them. Awesome. We were supposed to try and get lunch this week, and it didn't happen. But the week's not over, so maybe let's try for tomorrow. Let's see here. Akela says, "If you DM me a mailing address, we got it." Akela has been trying to get a hold of me or together with me for some time. He bought me some cool patches, and we never managed to connect. And now he lives in Maddock, which is a little further away. Wayne says, "Morning, Sean." Good morning, Wayne. Julie Massey says, "Good morning, Sean." Good morning to you. Brandon, quite rightly, says, "No one drives any of my cars except me." He's got some beautiful machines in his stable, and I don't disagree with you. I don't want anyone to drive my car. There are a select few drivers that I trust, like my buddy Rob. He can drive whatever he wants. He doesn't have a motorcycle license, so I wouldn't lend him the bike. But I do appreciate that there are some people that are trustworthy, some people that are not, and nobody should drive your beautiful machines, because, yeah. And also, they'd be totally responsible. I would give them the bill if they got a ticket in a car that belonged to me. And anyone that I would lend a car to is responsible enough to pay for it. Moving along. Paul says, "Good morning, Sean. Hello, all." And Brandon says he can be a guest on the show from Epcot next week. Done deal. Let's do it. And Nicholas has a question. We'll kick it off with his. It's coming in through X, whereas everybody else was coming through YouTube. Are suicide knobs legal to have on a steering wheel? Also, why is it called a suicide knob? You know what? I imagine it's called that because bad things happened in the past. They were sort of a requirement, as you had non-power steering giant wheels that you were trying to wield with one hand and possibly still shift. Tractors have them. Some large steering wheel vehicles have them. You don't need them. They're really a lazy way to drive, in my opinion. I used to think that they were illegal. I was not correct. They are legal, although it might be under the accommodation, like someone who has one hand, one arm, one appendage would need one more so than someone with two. And it also has the ability to get caught on things. If you're letting the wheel spin back into place with that super power steering that we have, making that knob absolutely useless. It's kind of like palm steering. But anyway, not illegal under the HTA that I've been able to find, because I've had this conversation for years and years now. Lots of people coming in, whichever platform you're on, please like, subscribe, share. Really would help. If you're on TikTok, please tap the screen till your fingers go numb. It brings more people to the party, more questions to be asked. And the more questions we get, the more interesting the conversation gets, because they're going to ask something you never thought to ask about. And that's exciting, because if we only have the same chat, there was a period of time when the only questions I got were What's the law on underglow, and what's the law on tinted windows? It's amazing how that has kind of changed, and for the better, I might add. It is nice to hear that that is not the standard one. Okay, no press release yet. I just did a check. I'm looking forward to reading it. I'm told it's coming out at 10 o'clock, and that's now. So we'll see what happens when I get the link. Peter Carlock says, "Thank you for all you did do. Did do. God bless." Well, thank you, Peter. I don't know if you're talking about my career, my life, or speaking about automated speed enforcement to the Vaughan City Council, which despite my efforts and all those who spoke at the meeting, was still canceled because I guess that's the breaks when it deals with politics. It's politics. Okay. What do we got here? Can you fight a speeding ticket? Can you fight it? You can fight a speeding ticket. You want to know if I can fight a speeding ticket? Speeding tickets are you have the right to challenge the court or the officer's evidence. You're allowed because it's an allegation, right? So anyone charged, the allegation is that you did something wrong. Now you can challenge it. Doesn't mean you're going to win. Can I fight a speeding ticket? If I was innocent, and if can I fight a speeding ticket for you? No, I don't defend people in court. That's not my game. But it is something that if you were looking for someone, I could probably send you in the right direction. Which is probably a good time to mention the magical people. That's not the button I wanted. Where's the button I wanted? Where's my labels? Hang on a second. Where'd it go? Oh, now I'm annoyed. Try this one. There we go. Diamond and Diamond Lawyers. They sponsor the show. They make it all happen. They believe in safe driving. They believe in. I'm laughing because I pressed. No, that's the wrong button. That's the button I pressed. I'm like, it's me. That's my sticker version. If you want a sticker, write to me. I'll send you a sticker. But but Diamond and Diamond are the magical folks who help by contributing financially to the show. They want people to be safer. They believe in safe roads, and education is the best way to get people there. Yeah, we can hammer people with tickets, and yeah, we can build speed bumps on everywhere and make everybody miserable. But if we educate people, if we change their hearts and minds to actually have them understand what is at stake and what is at stake for them, not just society, maybe we can do some better. And I appreciate their support, along with Barrett Legal and fine folks from different companies who don't necessarily want to be disclosed. Well, we'll see. There's lots of awesome people who help. All right, let's go. D Sin says, day 2 of asking to ban front plates. They're so good. But he said, and their front plates are so good. They don't look good. I admit that they are suboptimal in the looks department. However, they are double the chance of finding bad people who are trying to take people against their will, cars that are being stolen. Like, it's just twice the chance of finding people who need to be found. And for that reason, I support them. Otherwise, it doesn't really make a difference, right? Like, it's not about camera enforcement. It's not about, because those take rear plates anyway. So I appreciate that it makes your car look less cool. And then Decence also says it's always those damn Teslas. Tesla drivers were always my easy find for a cell phone ticket because they were almost always on the phone. I did pull over somebody for it a long time ago who happened to live across the street from me. That was an uncomfortable conversation. We still had a conversation. Okay, had to plug phone at a stoplight, called, pulled me over, and ticketed me. I think we had this conversation at a previous live stream, or at least you're not alone in that has happened a lot. Sadly, that is a standard excuse. It may have been legitimately what happened to you. However, that is really what happens when I pulled someone over. I was just moving it, checking the time, changing the music, whatever the case may be. If you're holding it, you're using it. Courts have supported it. So you can't do that. What you need to do is get in the habit of plugging your phone in when you're legally parked, which is the only time you can touch your device. Save and except for if it was mounted in a stand in the car and you were simply touching it to answer a call or hang up on a call, which is allowable. Case law has supported it. The courts have said one touch, if it's mounted, one touch to answer, one touch to hang up. And that is it. That is all, nothing else. Everything else is use. And for good reason. It is an amazingly dangerous thing to be on your phone. When you're taking your eyes away from the area you're supposed to be focusing on, which is way off in the distance, and you're focused on fumbling around in your car, bad stuff tends to happen. Like crashes. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Chris Reynolds says, I do have a question though. If you're at a party and you are drinking, can you sleep in your car legally? If you don't have the keys. If you have the ability to wake up an hour later while you're still drunk and drive away, which is what happens to most people. I feel much better. I'm not drunk anymore. I've slept it off. And then they drive. So obviously, it's not permissible if you have access to the keys, because then you have the ability to drive. You're in care and control of the vehicle. So that is a problem. If your friend had the keys and you had no access to the keys, you're sleeping in the car and the keys are locked away in a time release safe or something to that effect, you had no access to the house to get it, then yeah, you could sleep in that car. So it depends. 6.7 Owen. I'm guessing that's the size of the displacement of his engine. I got a red light camera ticket and the photo lights green. I got a red light camera ticket and in the photo the lights green. Really? I would love to know more about that ticket because that sounds very interesting. How does that happen? And is it possible that there's multiple frames for that ticket? Is it possible that you know, it is actually a legit ticket? I mean, if it's green light, you got a defense, like in my opinion. But it probably says you went over the line like within an eighth of a second or something. Anyway, fight it. If you think you've got a defense, fight it. I'm all for the innocent not being charged. It's the guilty that I think need to learn the lesson. Brandon says, Florida, you only have a rear plate. This is true. And I've always kind of been jealous of those folks. And it's a reason to buy a car in Florida. Seriously, more aerodynamic. That's one of the number one. The plate on the front of my car really slows me down. Changes my what's it called, miles per gallon. Magpies in the room says traffic circle. Person on the left has right of way. If four people are at a four-way stop at the same time, who goes first? Well, the way it works in a traffic circle is the person in the traffic circle has the right of way. If you're entering it, you have to yield to them. It's not about left or right. It's just yield to whoever's there. And it's one of the reasons I hate traffic circles. I actually love them if no one's around, but I find that they are super dangerous, not because their design and concept, if implemented, is good, but because people have no idea what they're doing when they enter them. It's kind of playing chicken every single time because I see people racing to that circle and not realizing that I have the right of way. So, we always have that moment of, oh crap, who's going to do what? Or are we going to meet in the middle? Successfully avoided collision. Also, pedestrians seem to get confused very easily. I had a kid who nearly rolled into my path whilst on a e-kick scooter that he shouldn't have been on in the first place because he was only like 10 years old, and you have to be 16 to operate one. But that's another story. In terms of a four-way stop, it is who goes first, whoever got there first. And I've never seen a situation where people truly arrive at a stop sign at the same time. It's like the what if question of what ifs. First to arrive, first to drive. If more than one person was there at the same time, y'all going to figure it out because the person to your right is who you're going to be giving it to. Someone's going to go first, and y'all figure it out. And all of you waving like this, like somebody else should go, it just gets annoying. But we'll just stick with, if you're approaching it and you think you're going to get there at the same time, slow down faster so you get there second. Okay. We've got Mattis, who says, where are you from? Just to know, because I'm in Quebec and jurisdiction might be different. I am in Ontario. I'm a former Toronto police officer, and I talk about Ontario law primarily. However, laws are different everywhere you go. And I'm glad you mentioned where you are, because if the question is different, we'll look it up and we'll see how it is for you. Now, okay. Mattis wants to know about motorcycle licenses. So I couldn't tell you what the process is there. We can look it up, but I don't know the process. What is it that you want to know about motorcycle licenses? Let's go there, because I am a former motor cop, and I've been riding motorcycles since I was a kid. Let's see. Speed cameras and red light cameras is a way to steal money from Canadians that are already struggling. That's from Con with a flag. No, you're wrong. It's a way of taking people who break the law, punishing them so they have a not so nice feeling, and then hoping that sticks enough into that person's mind that next time they are thinking about breaking the law, they go, gee whiz, that sucked last time. I'm not going to do it again. Or you might need another lesson. You might need to have to go through the system one more time, get a ticket, and pay the money, and have it suck even worse because now you doubled the loss. And maybe that time was your last, and you actually figured out that was dumb. But the people who are not paying for tickets are the people who are lawful, because they're driving properly. They're not getting tickets. I've never had a speed camera or red light camera ticket because I drive properly and I follow the law. So it's not a big deal. If they effectively don't exist for me, and I drive routes that have them every day. So if you're getting tickets and you think someone's out to get you, you need to, check yourself because you are just blaming everybody for your bad choices. Moving along. Mattis says, in Quebec, plates for motorcycles are really damn expensive. Can I get my motorcycle license in Ontario? So here's how it works. In Quebec, you've got license and ownership. Sorry, you've got ownership and insurance together. So you're paying for one, you're getting both. That's my understanding of how it works. Insurance for motorcycles is high. It's high here as well. If you were to get your license in Ontario, you'd have to convert to a Quebec license when you went back home. Like you live there. So getting a license here, when you go there, you have to apply for a Quebec license. You'd have to convert everything, first of all, to Ontario, and then you'd have to convert it back. So it wouldn't make any sense. Plus, to be a licensed operator driving a Quebec car in Ontario, the car should be like licensed. You have to have licensed your motorcycle here, which means you have to pay for insurance here, which would also be incredibly expensive. So you're not winning anything. Also, have you seen how deep the snow is in Montreal? Not exactly motorcycle weather. Ever. Isn't it snowing now in Montreal? Just saying. Okay, let's go back to but seriously, if you got more questions about motorcycle stuff and things, feel free to reach out. We can do a deep dive as to more by way of email. Okay. Johnny Michael Nguyen sent a gift. Thank you so much. Any monies received by the show goes to Better Traffic. It's the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, Inc. It's a not-for-profit. It's the thing that I started when I left the Toronto Police over a year ago, and the goal is to make roads safer everywhere through education programs like this one. Let's see here. The Myatt fam 2.0 says, do you think that ticketing standards of police in the field should match the new photo radar standard? Do you think that ticketing standards of police in the field should match? Do you mean that police should give a ticket for 10 over, starting at 10 over, and not give tickets for people going less? Well, first of all, it's not a 10 over. It's not the threshold for cameras tends to be a percentage over the posted speed limit. It's not 1 over. Everyone making these claims, I've yet to see anyone substantiate that with proof. I've never seen a ticket shown to me for a 1 kilometer over ticket because I don't believe they exist. Now, municipalities can set them to whatever they want. And if they did set it to 1 over, they'd be in their rights to do so because it's against the law. But I don't think it's reasonable. Just putting that out there. If you're doing the 10%, let's say, over that I think these things are set to, and I can say think because although I've interviewed the folks who run the programs, they've said we don't disclose how much it is because if we told you that it's 10K over, you would just do 9K over. And that's reasonable. Don't frickin' speed and you won't get a ticket. Now, in terms of police have a different level of triage that they have to employ. Not only do they have to decide when they think personally it's reasonable to lay the ticket, they also realize that when they pull you over for 10 over, the guy doing 20 over speeds by and you can only pull over one person at a time reasonably. So they tend to wait for the person doing 15 or 20. That's not because it's okay to do 10. It's because there's so many people going faster that they have to triage and take the most serious offenses first. That works into the favor of the people who want to speed. Cameras dole it out evenly. Everyone who hits the threshold gets the ticket. And I'd like that to be the situation everywhere. I want every road and highway and street and whatever title you want to put on it to have a camera. Every red light to have a camera. Every stop sign to have a camera. Because I watch people break the law constantly and forever. And I miss the ability to hand out that ticket and hold them accountable. It's not because I like punishing people. I like safe roads. I want my kids to be able to go to school safely. And this morning was a great example. I just shot a video of it before and I was going to post it, but I ran out of time. I was walking my kids to school as I do every day. And as we approached the crosswalk where a crossing guard was present holding their lollipop, that's what I call the stop sign. Well, a driver let their kid out of the car and directly in front of them was the crossing guard wearing that nice green vest and holding their lollipop. And they started to drive through the intersection. You can't trust the average driver because the average driver sucks. Their skill level is such that they should never have been licensed in the first place, and or they're paying attention to what's happening in their future. What am I going to do at work? Where am I going to go shopping? What's the next movie? Whatever. My podcast is so interesting. Whatever it is, they're not focused on the road. And that is problematic. We need to increase the standards. And we talked about that a lot last night. We need to increase the driving standards. We need to make it harder to get a driver's license, not easier. And we should be licensing anything that's on the road, e-bikes included. That's just me. That's my 2 cents. Akela sent me a dad joke. Thank you, Akela. If you are someone who knows some good dad jokes, please throw them into the comments. I would love to share them. It's just a thing we do at the end of the show. Nicholas wants me to define legally park. Earlier, I said, don't touch your phone unless you're legally parked. And he says he finds parking lots to check. Sorry, he says, I find parking lots to check my phone. I do not trust pulling into the side of the road to park to check my phone. So legally parked is putting it in a place where you can stop the car, get out, and leave it and not get a ticket. Now, I'm not saying you have to pay for parking to be there to stop your car. I mean, you're in a place that legally permits you to stop. Can't be a no stopping zone, can't be a no standing zone. That's what I'm saying when I say legally parked. It does not mean stopping at a red light and putting it in park. The P on your shift knob does not equate to legal parking. But I commend you, my friend, for pulling over and finding a safe and legal space to touch your phone. Okay, I must hydrate. In terms of sleeping in your car, the question was, what if your friend took the spark plugs out? So could you sleep in the car? It ain't going nowhere. If the car was disabled and you no longer had the ability to start the vehicle and move it, I think you'd have a legitimate defense. And if you were loaded and could put all your spark plugs back, I think you're a talented, mechanically inclined individual, which is not a suggestion that you should just remove your own. Because anyway, moving on. I think that's a creative way. If you truly had a disabled vehicle, a conviction is something that would not be registered. I think could not be registered. Let's move along. R3. I don't know how to Ready Twin One. I think that's what we're saying. So I have an old motorcycle and it's being advised to register it as an antique. What are the pros and cons? Antique motorcycles, truly antiques that qualify, get either free plates or cheaper plates and qualify for antique insurance, which means it's only for occasional use. If you are going to do that, know that you have a mileage max. It's only meant for ice cream runs, not for commuter vehicles. So if it's truly antique and kept in that status, it's meant for occasional use. And that could be the advantage. Some guy 006 says, in the daytime, do you have to have running lights on? They're called daytime running lights because they're meant for use in the daytime. Daytime running lights are there so that you can be visible in the day. It's more so than you need actual headlights at night. The daytime running lights are actually low powered high beams, and they project. They're more visible. Do you have to have them? Can you get a ticket for not having them? No. So if you disabled them, you wouldn't get a ticket. You couldn't certify a vehicle without them. That's a requirement. But if they're manufactured with them, you're supposed to have them on. And yeah, they're there to be visible in the day. That's why they call them daytime running lights. Okay. What do we got here? Toronto 47 says, hey, please don't misinform the community if you're no longer a cop. OPP staff sergeant here. Okay, OPP staff sergeant here. I don't misinform. If you actually look where it says former police officer on the screen in front of you, it says former police officer. Ask a Traffic Cop is the show title. I am not a police officer anymore. Never have I made that claim. If you look at any of my information on all of my social media accounts, I clearly state that I'm a former police officer, like I do right under my name beneath my head, floating in this scene. So no, not misinforming people, not impersonating, but thank you for your concern. Okay, moving along. Not a firefighter sent some gifts. Thank you. And Tracy is commenting, scrolling through, and someone says, so ex-cop. Who said that? DM says, so ex-cop. Yes, former cop. Canada, Alberta only requires rear plates. Many places do. Many people clearly only need rear plates. But Ontario was smart. The Ontario Chiefs of Police were questioned as to whether or not it was a good idea to get rid of the front plate, because the Premier Ford right away said, you are not, or he was going to say he was not going to have front plates anymore. He's going to get rid of them when he came in. And that didn't happen because he asked the trusted people at, his base, the Chiefs of Police Association, and they said clearly, we're not going to get rid of them, or we shouldn't get rid of them because they double the chances of locating and identifying vehicles. Not a firefighter says, I entered a roundabout in 2016 and was stuck there driving in circles for 3 years. Like I said, not a fan of roundabouts. Actually, I like them in small communities where it is absolutely faster than stopping and going, but they run risks. Hockey Dad says, what's the difference between, here we go. It's a dad joke. I'm going to flag it for Lauder. For Lauder. Here we go. Hang on a second. Okay. Flagging the dad joke. There we go, Hockey Dad. And Hockey Dad says, in terms of the high beam, low beam business, he even recommends having your low beam light on all the time, makes you more visible from the front and the rear. Absolutely, because daytime running lights are only the front lights. The rear lights only come on when your full headlight system is activated. And that's good. That is good. Okay. My eye is bugging me. Okay, moving on. Matt says, I thought you weren't doing it anymore. Oh, wait, first, let's go back. Bot, anyone with a name Bot, really? Okay, says, it's a cash grab. And we're talking about automated enforcement, I'm assuming, but you're wrong. Matt's, and in fact, it's funny because the premier is saying it's a cash grab, but the Association of Chiefs of Police has come out and saying, no, we support them. So, yeah, shout out to the OACP. We're on the same team for that one. And then Matt says, I thought you were not doing this anymore. So when I left the policing, I left the keys to the castle and everything to the Toronto Police to do it. They didn't do it. And there was obviously a need. I was getting a lot of messages saying, you should do this. So I started doing it for fun while they were transitioning. And then I said, you know what? We got to keep this going. This is important. And my goal, going back to the staff sergeant who says that I shouldn't misrepresent, which I don't, is that my goal was to be the host of the show and bring on police officers to answer the questions. But I have not found police officers who are willing to speak or are knowledgeable enough on the topic to speak on it in an impromptu setting like I do. So, OPP Staff Sergeant, if you'd like to join the show, please let me know. Send me a DM. If you go to askatrafficcop.ca, you can actually see a link. Well, there is a link. You'll find a link that says police that want to connect and be on the show. If you want to do some collabs, if you want to do stuff together, send me a DM. I'll happily bring you on the show. You can answer these questions. Okay. Khan says, Khan, who was talking earlier about taking money from honest people in terms of the automated enforcement. Khan says, I know this isn't about traffic, but what do you think about Canadians or Canada's castle law? Can't harm intruders. Well, you're wrong. You can harm intruders, but you're responsible for anything you do above and beyond what is considered reasonable. And the problem is, and what government's the Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre wants to do is he wants to specify that you are justified to do what you got to do, as opposed to be questioned and have a long drawn out criminal process to exonerate you for doing what you should be able to do. In other words, you can use as much force as necessary, according to the Criminal Code of Canada, to defend yourself, your life, or the life of another. You can use as much force as necessary to prevent yourself from being injured within reason. So if a guy slaps you in the face and you beat him to a pulp, that's not reasonable. You know, it's not the appropriate amount of force. You went too far. If the guy shouts at you and you were to use a pew-pew, that's not okay. But you would think that someone breaking into your house in the middle of the night is there to do you harm. And with the new concept that they're proposing, or hopefully proposing, like officially, well, maybe then you would be able to shoot bad guys, because that seems reasonable. But anyway, I'm just a former cop. I should remind everybody constantly and forever, and we'll move on. I thought it was enough on the screen and in the introduction, but people are tuning in all the time, so they don't know. Riddle says, I need a job at TPS. You should apply. In fact, let's look at the jobs that are currently posted on tps.ca, because I, while not a current police officer, do think they're the best organization to work for. And I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, love these guys. If you want a job in policing, you should check them out. Where's my camera? Why isn't there? Here, let's put it back on. There we go. No, it's not what I wanted. Here, let's switch it around. Ooh, that's what I wanted. Okay. Press this button. Move me around. No, I want this one. We'll do this one. The settings need to be checked. All right, here we go. So if we go to police constable, obviously tps.ca/careers, that will bring you to the place. And then we'll put it on screen. Then you can scroll through and see what the opportunities are. Police, special constable, parking enforcement officer. These are the big jobs. These are the ones that we're hiring most often for, along with communications operator. If you're someone who works for the OPP or another police service and wants to come to the best police service in the world, go to lateral hire here. If you want to volunteer, go to auxiliary officer. But let's go under police constable. You can get all the information that you ever wanted to know and the big old button for apply now. If you want to see how I actually started as an auxiliary officer, then became a special constable, then a supervisor and a sergeant, and then became a police constable, trading 2 uniforms in for 1. But everyone's got different things they want to do in life. Now, maybe you want to answer the phone and dispatch police officers. These are the unsung heroes. People don't realize how important comms operators are, and it's a tough job. And if you want to do something that involves none of those, maybe you're a tech person. Check out the civilian roles tab. Now, these are the current jobs listed with the Toronto Police Service. Moves, adds, and changes coordinator. Have no idea what that is. Facility management. Senior project manager, facilities management. Civilian job manager at Equity, Inclusion, and Human Rights. Here's one for young people. 2026 Youth and Policing Initiative After School Winter Spring Program. This is great if you live in an area that qualifies. And I say that if you live in these communities, you would be eligible to apply. And it is a job. You're going to get paid, from my understanding. Let's see here. This is an after school program. Maybe it's not the one that they pay you. Apply. There's one that's actually the summer one, and I think they pay $15 or $16 an hour. Oh no, this one's $17.60 an hour. There you go. It's still a paid program, and you get to learn about what police officers do. Boom, boom, boom. Let's stop the screen sharing and move along. Okay, but yeah, check them out. And I'm giving jabs at OPP, but another amazing service. Many of my friends have left the Toronto Police Service to join the Ontario Provincial Police. In fact, I was considering it at one point because it meant getting out of the city and moving to beautiful places that you can enjoy a higher quality of life, and that is important. I hated driving to Toronto every day as much as I love Toronto. It was like 3 hours a day commuting, and 3 hours a day commuting means you have to really enjoy the space that you are in whilst commuting, and that's important. We'll talk more about that in a little while. Because, I'll mention it here. I'll mention it because in case the press release doesn't come out as planned on time, but I'm working with Sirius XM. And if you're not familiar with them, that's satellite radio, baby. And we're talking about reclaiming your commute, making it something that you enjoy, that you look forward to. We'll talk more about it later. Okay. Speed bumps will save lives. Speed cameras won't. Speed cameras target the middle class and poor. That's Riddles. Now, Riddles, you said you need a job at TPS and then go on to say something. So I think you were not at all being honest about your interest in traffic safety or policing, because speed bumps will slow down emergency responders who are coming to help you, whether it's you needing an ambulance, a fire truck to attend to put out your fire, or a police officer coming to help you. Speed bumps are good at slowing people down at the bump, but they don't actually succeed in between bumps unless you're talking about one every 3 to 6 inches, which is not that's a rumble strip that hurts your car. I am not a fan of speed bumps. I am a fan of enforcement. They don't target the middle class. They target illegal, lawless, unsafe drivers who choose to break the law instead of following the simple sign, the most basic of rules. You get your license and you follow the signs. If you can't do that, you don't deserve to drive. Hand in your card because you are a menace. And that's how I feel. Ivan Tampa says, "You're amazing." Well, thank you, Ivan. I appreciate it. If you are watching and you're new to the channel, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and stuff and things. So if you got questions, I got answers. If I don't have answers, we'll figure it out. But I definitely want to hear from you. I am supported by the most magical of people, Diamond and Diamond Lawyers, and other fine businesses and peoples and persons who support what I do, which is educating people when others don't have the time to. The police can only do what they can do, and they can't sit here talking to you for hours at a time. But I enjoy it. Now we're done. We're doing this through Better Traffic Safety and Education. It's a not-for-profit organization I created when I left the police service. And I do this to give back. The Toronto Police was a magical employer, and the policing community is one that I'll always be a part of, although not a police officer. See what I did there? Okay. What do we got here? Viva says, how about start properly testing the newcomers to Canada who think road signs are a suggestion? I think that's unfair. I think that the people who are newcomers to Canada have to go through a stringent process, just like everybody else. The problem is the process is not as stringent as you might think. It is way too easy to become a licensed driver in the province of Ontario and many other places. But we should be changing to a European model where you have mandatory driving instruction and testing. You have staggered systems that only allow you to do certain types of driving until you hit a certain quality or approval rating. And I mean that like Ireland, there's different stages. And yeah, the only people who I would agree with are getting it too easy is some people coming from other countries do not have to go through our testing process if they have a license from their country and we have a reciprocal agreement. Like the UK, if you come to Canada with a UK license, you can just trade it in. The United States, you can just trade it in because the laws are similar there. But maybe we should be looking at it more seriously. Maybe we should go away with this reciprocal agreement. But that means that you won't have the benefit of a reciprocal agreement when you travel or go. So you got to play the game nicely. And of course, there's also fraud and corruption everywhere and every level. And that's not good. Not good at all. Corruption, bad. Let's see here. I just saw a message. Oh, okay. That was a different question. We'll talk to that after. I got a message from Greg. Greg, I hear you, man. I'll call you after. All right, let's move on. Tracy's mad. No. Oh, school bus driver, 100% agree with you. Amount of drivers who blow stop signs on a daily. You know what? The camera laws, or the automated speed enforcement laws have been expanded. The laws were modified to accommodate school bus cameras. If you run a stop sign or the red lights on a school bus, the technology is there. The rules are there. The law supports it. You can get a camera ticket. Unfortunately, not every jurisdiction has implemented them. I'd love to see them everywhere. It's been years that it's been available, but not every jurisdiction is doing it. And I don't know why. Anyone who goes through a stop sign or passes a school bus deserves the full weight of the law. And we don't do that. And I don't think a ticket is enough. I don't think a cash donation is enough to make it go away. I think we should be taking licenses. At very least, it should be registering demerit points. And I do think we should do that against the registered owner of the vehicle. And why do I do that? Because then they will likely tell me who is actually driving, and we can transfer that to the person who's actually responsible. There's all sorts of problems with everything. Maybe we should put cameras that capture the likeness of the driver at the same time. Or maybe we need RFID technology. We'll chip you. No, I don't want to chip people. I'm actually not someone who likes more government. I like more safety. So sometimes you have to accept more government to get the safety. But I'm not someone who just I'm not a person who wants a nanny state. But sadly, I think we need better drivers and to hold those accountable. Herbert Bloom. Is it Blome or Blom? I'm okay. Moving on. We got. I'm laughing because I'm reading into your name and I don't know if I got it right. Okay, I agree with you. The police have enough things to do than catching speeders. I think that we have to catch the high end, the speeders who are really egregious, like the ones that need to be arrested. That needs to be a police officer, obviously. But the ones that are just getting away with it because they're not being caught, those need the automated enforcement. And I appreciate that. Let's see here. Artichoke says, which department? I used to be with Toronto. I'm no longer a police officer. Better Traffic Safety and Education, Inc. is a not-for-profit that I represent on Ask a Traffic Cop. And of course, I am a former cop. What I am looking for, and I started talking about it earlier in the show when someone claiming to be a staff sergeant with the Ontario Provincial Police said, don't misrepresent yourself. You're not a cop anymore. I'm not a cop. It says so on the screen. It says former police officer. So there should be no confusion. But my goal has always been to bring police officers onto the show. Unfortunately, due to the actions of a few officers with the Toronto Police, their ability as a service to join podcasts and live streams was taken away. And I won't go into more than that. But yeah, someone said dumb stuff on camera and ruined it for everybody else. So the police, although I really want them to come in and be involved, there's a seat waiting for my old buddy and pal, the Sarge from Traffic Services, the one and only. You know what I'm talking about? Does anyone know? Sergeant Campbell. If he were to say, Sean, I want to be on the show, I'd put him right next to me every single day, because that would be awesome. It would be absolutely awesome. I miss him a lot. Listen, my friends, my Blue family will always be there. And if any of them want to be on the show, just let me know. You have a login credential waiting for you. Okay, moving along. Uh, Shanice Gibson says, I hope that person knows impersonating an officer is a crime. Oh, the person who's claiming to be an officer. They may be an officer. It's very possible. No shade if he may need bifocals. Most people, achieving the rank, I'm wearing bifocals. I'm just shooting, stuff his way, but he may not see it. It's small print. Maybe I need to make it larger. In all fairness, in fact, in the night version of the Ask a Traffic Cop, I made that much larger, and maybe I'll increase it going forward. Doesn't hurt to be absolutely transparent. There's nobody trying to hide here. Okay, moving on. Dylan Dozer says, opinion on trucking companies paying drivers to paying truckers by the load, which makes them drive fast and reckless. Okay, this is actually a really good topic, Dylan. I'm glad you brought it up. Here's the deal. And Narav, you can absolutely ask a question. Just ask the question, because you asked a question. If you could ask a question, that was a question. Moving along, ask me a question. Okay, so Dylan, who wants to know about trucking companies who pay by the load. Brinks, they're an armored truck company. They pay by the run, which means when you're finished, you go home early. Same money if you take 8 hours as you do 10 hours. So what happens? They speed and drive recklessly. I work there. I know that's what happens. That's what people do. There's a lot of pressure there to go fast. Then you've got, I don't know, Canada Post does the same thing. They have developed a whole concept of, we're going to tell you to be safe. We're going to tell you that you got to do the lawful thing, but if you get home early, you can go home early. And I have some beliefs as to what's happening. A lot of people I've heard from saying that, the reason you're not getting your package delivered, the reason you're not getting your package, instead you're getting a piece of paper saying come pick it up, is because some people aren't even trying to deliver your package. They're walking to your door, they're slapping a piece of paper on, and they're all written, and then they go back to the station and they go home early. That's what I'm being told by insiders from certain places. And the deal is, it might be true, and it might not. I think that it's got some legs. I get way too many attempts when the camera catches them, not package in hand, no attempt for a signature, just a sticker. So what does that mean? It means I've officially confirmed that the allegation made by an employee might be accurate. Moving along, I don't agree with this concept of a run. You should get paid for an 8-hour day, and if you get back early, I think you should be able to sit on your hands and wait till the end of the day, because they are suggesting you go faster and encouraging people to break the law, even if it's not their intention. That's what they're doing unintentionally. Lodge says, hey, in small towns, roundabouts work great. They do. I love them. But oddly enough, small towns tend to have good drivers. Bernhard sent a couple of dad jokes. Can you send them again? Because I missed them. Let me scroll back. I want to get his dad jokes because he usually has really good ones, but I don't see the dad jokes. I don't see them. Try them again. They may have been flagged depending on what TikTok can sometimes get people thinking that, or their AI thinks it's inappropriate and then doesn't share it. Anyway, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. I am your opinionated traffic guy, happy to share my opinions about stuff and things, my knowledge of laws. If you've got questions, I generally have answers, and happy to share those with you. So you can go to askatrafficcop.ca. You can send me voicemail during the lives. You can, of course, ask questions in the comments, and as long as we have time, I try and answer them all. Let's see here. Paul says cash grab is spelled accountability. Yeah. Okay. Nicholas wants to know if I ever had a day where you were supposed to go into work, but you feel like it, but you don't feel like it, so you give yourself a Ferris Bueller's day off. Be honest. Have you ever had a mental health day? I'm sure that's happened. I actually loved going to work, and the only time I didn't go to work is if I wasn't feeling well. There was no reason to drive to work to be sick for an hour, and I usually dragged my butt in. But if I was sick enough that I knew I shouldn't be there, nobody else wants you there. Here's a good question. Storm Games and Vlog says, can I get a ticket for parking the opposite way on the other side of a residential area? And the answer is, yeah. The only people who can park contraflow are those who have a accessibility permit. That's the only exemption to parking the wrong way on the street. Tracy says, I still have to get Frank on here. Yes, Frank and I have chatted loosely about it. I'm supposed to go to Arizona and visit him. I'd love to get Frank on here because he's an Arizona traffic man and a hero to many. He's on the right side of the law, on the mountain of right, as opposed to the valley of wrong. Yes, I watch his stream, his stuff. Let's see here. Scrolling. We got a quote. He says, by the way, good morning, Sean. Hope you're having an amazing day so far. How are you enjoying the first few days of fall? Is it officially fall? I think I thought it was fall for the last like month. It was like a light switch went off and there was no more summer. It just disappeared. But I'm good with it. We're cool. I like this weather. We got a dad joke from him. Okay. He says, Paul says, please tell me that the people that can't read former aren't driving. We hope that no one is driving while watching this. That would be not good. Cool. Got the 4 jokes. Okay, going back to the TikTok. Good question here. Narav asked if they can ask a question, but then never asked a question. So we'll just keep on moving. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, please tap the screen till your fingers go numb. I see that there's a bunch of people in. We got you in. We love you, and we love to bring more here. So by tapping the screen and showing likes, it brings more people to the party, and more people means more questions. And questions, oddly enough, well, they make it interesting. Okay, moving along. Can we drive in Qatar with a Canadian license? That is up to the authorities there. I could not tell you if they accept those, but I imagine you'd at very least need an international driving permit issued by the CAA. They're the body that issues them here. Really, it's a translation card. Let's see here. Tracy says, yes, we read that already. Carl Freeman, what's going on, my friend? He says, I seen your brother pulled somebody on the 407. My brother, I have a twin. I don't actually have a twin, but I have someone who looks a lot like me, and I very often would get messages saying, hey, I just saw you on a police motorcycle drive by, because I used to be motor squad, and he's in the motor squad. Peter, what's going on, my brother? And we look the same on the helmet. In fact, I just saw a picture. I wonder if I can find this. I just had someone send me a picture of him on a motorcycle, and I questioned myself because I thought it was me. But he's on a Beamer, and I've never ridden the Beamer. And let me see if I can pull up that photo, because I think it's hilarious. Here it is. I'm going to send this over. Maybe can I share it any other way? No, let's just do this. I'll just put it up to the camera. I, honest to God, looked at it. I had to look twice because I thought it was me. He's like, that looks just like me. Is that AI? Yeah. I thought maybe it was an old photo until I realized I'd never rode the Beamers. I don't like the Beamers. They don't fit nice for me. Anyway, moving along. Deep Fried says, do electric scooters and bike lanes have to stop for cars turning right at the intersection? Well, first of all, electric scooters, if they're lawful, are bicycles. If they're and bike lanes and cycle tracks are different things. And you have to know which one, because they're electric scooters that look like motorcycles aren't allowed to be in those, only pedelecs, the cycle tracks, that is. So it really is interesting. So yeah, if you're driving in a bicycle lane and someone's turning, they're there first. You need to yield. You need to avoid collision. You cannot barrel through. Now, they have to yield to you. If you're there past the point of no return, they should not be turning into your path. So it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And you have to, live and coexist. But if you're approaching an intersection and the vehicle's already turning in front of you, you must attempt to avoid collision. If you're traveling so fast that you can't, you're probably not an e-bike at all. You're probably driving a modified e-bike, which means you're really driving a motorcycle that's electric powered and not legal for the road. And that is a thing. Tracy supports speed bumps in school zones. I support anything to keep kids safe, honestly. I will say this, and I've said it a number of times over the last couple of days. A buddy of mine, a retired sergeant, has speed bumps, had because he moved, had speed bumps in front of his home and a speed camera. And guess what? The speed camera kept going off in front of the Catholic school in between the speed bumps. So riddle me this. Like, how does that work? How does speed bumps prevent the camera from going off? How do they slow people? No. Honest people slow down because of signs. Honest people slow down because of cameras being present. Honest people don't break into your house because there's locks on the door. But crooks and violators do whatever the hell they want. And then they need tickets or arrest or whatever comes with the offense that took place. Moving on. Dylan Dozer says, opinion on dump truck companies paying by the load, which makes them more reckless and unsafe. I will say this. I can't speak about by the load because, that I've addressed that already. But there is a situation where buddy driving the truck, it's loaded by the crane operator. And my understanding is they're very often overloading them because they want to get more value. That's the customer loading them. The truck is being hired to move it, and they're paying by the flat. And the issue is that the truck is then overloaded. We pull them over. The police, I should say, pull them over, weigh them, and they're overweight. And then they're taken off the road. And the driver doesn't know what the weight is. So really what should happen is there should be a weight system, a scale in the truck, and they should reject. But they're also pressured that if they say anything, that they're going to get in trouble by their bosses. So there's a big problem on our roads with commercial vehicles. And I thank the commercial motor vehicle inspectors, whether it be the MTO or CVSA guys for the local police services. They do great work, and more needs to be done to really hold these drivers accountable. Lodge says, can we talk about roads that don't have proper paint and signage? Yeah, if you see a road that isn't properly maintained, call 311 if you're in the GTA. Report it. It needs to be maintained. You need to have those markings. However, how much are we talking about here? Is it lines? Is it speed? What is it missing? Because it doesn't completely exonerate the driver. It's faded, so they do 80. No, there's reason. It has to be reasonable, but they should be maintained. And if you look back at the video that Maury from 92.5 tagged me, damn it, Maury. And he was about a signage because a construction company went in and put a no right turn sign. And then there was already a no left turn or no go straight sign. So it was a dead end. Like, sometimes people make mistakes. And sure enough, I went there and then I called and sent photos to 311 and got it resolved right away. Yeah, people got to make the call. Canuck Canoe Cat something says, what are your thoughts on the bogus gun ban? It's a bogus gun ban. It's absolutely ludicrous. I don't buy into it. I don't support it. The police chiefs don't support it. The people who are using illegal guns are illegal. They're illegal guns. They're not lawful gun owners in Canada. They're not the people who have licenses and went through background checks and courses. It's thugs and criminals. They are who you have to spend your time on. But this government doesn't understand logic at all. Sadly. So they're wasting your money to go after guns that have no risk to the public because they're locked away in safes or taken to the range or gone hunting. But if they look mean, the dum-dums want it. And they are dum-dums. Just listen to them speak. It's terrible. My God. Don't get me started on that, please, because I'm so against this gun ban thing. And logical people everywhere are. Moving along. Barry says, good morning, Sean. Good to see you live again. Good to see you, Barry. It's been a while. Purple GTI says, do you get paid for this? No. Is there a potential that one day it'll be money in the organization enough to pay me to do it? Maybe one day, but no. I'm bootstrapping this with my own money and the assistance of people like, I'll put their logo on the screen, Diamond Lawyers, because they are helping to cover the cost, the software costs, the bandwidth costs. Everything costs money. A computer or a piece of equipment breaks, I got to buy a new one. Everything. I am way in the hole on this, but they're helping me keep it going, and I appreciate them and their contributions to the mission of making roads safer. There's always room for more. So if you want to help support, you can go to askatrafficcop.ca. There's a PayPal link there. You can go to VoiceOver Cop at, it's actually not VoiceOver Cop at, but it's Buy Me a Coffee. You can go to the VoiceOver Cop account at Buy Me a Coffee. The money goes to the not-for-profit Better Traffic. It is not for me. It's just to keep the channel going. My time, I went from 5 days a week down to 2 days a week. I do Tuesday nights and Wednesdays. And I'm just keeping myself doing this because I care about it. I care about you. I care about the safety of all, and I enjoy doing this. So while it would be great to say I'm making millions, I'm not getting paid. I do a lot of stuff as a consultant, and that's where I make money, which is not this. Okay. The Great Banana says, I think every highway should be like the Autobahn. I miss driving back home. The Autobahn is a great place. I've driven the Autobahn myself, and I will say that it's great. However, strict enforcement with cameras in the populated areas where the speed limits are 80 to 130, strict regulations about how you act, lane, what's the word I'm looking for? I said it last night on the live stream, etiquette. You're in the right lane doing the right thing. So if you're not passing, you stay to the right. You get out to pass, you get back in the right. People do horrible driving here. They just don't know what they're doing. So if you made an Autobahn here, I think it would explode. Thank you for the gifts from Liam followed. Thanks for the follow. Johnny Mitchell says Sergeant Campbell and sends hearts. Best Supplements says, can't lie, traffic cops are the worst. The worst at what? I think we're the best. We're the best at writing tickets, making roads safer, investigating collisions, keeping people safe. We might be the worst at letting you go and ignoring your bad behavior. Like, you need to frame your statement better. Tracy says Sarge was great. I miss him. We got to get together for lunch. Barry says, can members of the OPP participate in your podcast? Absolutely. OPP members used to drive in to Toronto Police Traffic Services to join me on the podcast. I would love to have any member of any service anywhere in Ontario or Canada, for that matter. I've had members of Vancouver join me when I was Vancouver RCMP traffic unit, North Vancouver, I think officially. I must say that I need to do more outreach to try and get them in, but based on what's been going in Toronto, and Toronto was really the police service I wanted to have most involved because they're my brothers and sisters. But because of like I said, the actions of a couple of people who ruined it for everybody, they can't be in podcasts right now. So it's quite sad. I've talked to the chief about it a number of times. The chief is very supportive of what I do and would have loved for me to keep doing it as a police officer with Toronto, but there wasn't in the cards. I had family stuff going on that required me to leave. Okay. Tim says UPS, FedEx, Purelator. Yes, if you're talking about people who go fast. Wants to know how car thefts are still so bad because there's criminals. And police can't prevent criminality. People think the police will protect their stuff. They don't. They don't protect the stuff in your driveway. They don't sit on guard at your corner of your street. They respond to calls for service when someone's actively doing something, and then they hope to get there in time to deal with it. But very often what they're there to do is write the report so the insurance company can replace your stuff. It's not the answer you want, but that's the reality of the game. There's not enough police to go around. So car companies need to step up the game and make it, better. They need to make it better. They need to go after the fine folks who are trying to break into your cars. I say fine folks very, very loosely. Maybe scumbag is the most appropriate. Criminals, like I was talking about this over lunch a couple days ago. People don't realize just how impactful car theft is. You lose your car. Yes, you have insurance. You don't get a car in replacement and no impact. You now have to go buy a new car at today's interest rates after only getting back the value of your vehicle. It's not cool. It impacts people all over the place. These people, this needs to end, but it needs to be because we've stopped the criminality, the large organizations that are moving these vehicles. And then it's not always theft for resale. It can be theft for further criminality. Someone, steals your Honda Civic so they can go steal a Porsche or break into a house. They need a getaway car. Like, it's just all around bad. We need to put criminals in jail and leave them there. Stop this catch and release baloney that we've been dealing with under the crime bills of this government. Yeah, we need change. Okay, construction and two-way traffic between what? JF Seguin says construction and two-way traffic between cones and several kilometers long. Emergency vehicles come. You get out of the way. You pull over. What'll usually happen is one side will pull over, the other side will clear. If there's nowhere to go, you keep going to get out of the way and you pull over at the first available time. Those are unique situations. If it's really nowhere to go, then straight's the only place to go. You can't just stop in the middle. We talked about that. Carl says, you're doing a great job. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Hag Sameach and Shana Tova. We've got what is this? Liam says, do you think regular class 5 driver, just four-wheelers, need more? I think everyone needs to have more training. Yes. Why do cops pull over for going 3 over, but people that run, you guys let them go? I don't think you're being accurate. I've never pulled someone over for 3 kilometers over, even in a 30 zone. I've never pulled someone over for 30 kilometers over. I don't know anybody who would. So DM416 says, I saw you on CP24. I've been all over the news. I've been on CP24, CTV. I've been on the radio. I was on Zoomer yesterday. I've been on the Jerry Agar show. Where else was I? I've been on a bunch of different places recently. I was on a Waterloo radio station last week. Awesome attention on the whole electronic speed enforcement. A lot of people love to hate them. Chef Fowles, thanks for the gifts. Your contributions to the Better Traffic Safety Education Plan are appreciated. DM416 wants to know if e-scooters are really banned now because I see people riding them. They were never allowed in Toronto. Electric kick scooters have never been permitted in the city of Toronto. We did not opt in to the program And as a result, you could be ticketed for riding them in Toronto. It doesn't stop the 90 million people who use them every day in Toronto. It's gross. But the truth is, there's not enough police to enforce it. So they're just doing what they want. Wasaga Beach Girl says, hi. What's going on, Wasaga Beach Girl? We've got Liam says, truckers can reject a load if it's not properly loaded. Yes, they can, and yes, they should. It's not that it's not properly loaded. They're overloaded, which is also improper, I suppose. But they're also being pressured by their employers not to complain because they probably would not be allowed to or accepted back at work the next day. They're in a really sticky situation. Pagani is being, I think, racist in his statements. We're going to ignore Pagani on Instagram. And let's see here. Some trucks have scales. I'm a commercial driver up north in Barrie. Really, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that trucks had built-in scales. That is good. And if the truck company has a strict policy to follow what those scales say and make sure they're safe and legal, I commend them for that. A lot of shady people in the business, though. Shanice says, put it on YouTube, maybe make some money. This is on YouTube. Oh, no, if we're talking about, Shanice, if we're talking about this show, we are currently broadcasting on LinkedIn, Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on X and TikTok all at the same time. So we're absolutely sharing it everywhere, but we don't make any money there either. I would love to get to the point where we're making any kind of ad revenue because it would just be helping to fund and continue doing what we do. I'd love to get to the point where I could do this 5 days a week, hire a staff for editing and create more content, but I don't have the money to support hiring a staff because that is absolutely, I've had some people reach out about volunteering. I don't think I have the capacity to take on a volunteer right now, but I would love to soon. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. Moving along. Oh. Okay, Liam okay, they're talking about the trucks. We're going to move on from trucks. I've talked about a lot about that. Okay. Is Jean or Jean says, I think it's Jean. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your car gets hit. You ask the officer for the other info. Should you have to wait for it? Your car gets hit. You ask the officer for the other driver's info. Should you have to wait for it? Well, what happens is I can only speak to what happens in Toronto when I was there. So if I was investigating a collision, even if I was referring it to a collision reporting center, I would give you a contact sheet, an involved person's sheet that just has the information I got from both people, put it onto one place, and then give it to you. You're entitled to it. If it's a collision reporting center, well, then you got to wait until both people report. At the time of the collision, at the time that you were talking to the other driver, you need to exchange information with them. They are required by law to provide it to you. If they don't, then you need to call the police and have them come and, well, motivate them to do what is legally required because they can't leave without sharing that information. Driver's license, ownership, insurance has to be exchanged. We got Adam wants to know if police in Toronto ever give parking tickets or is that left to parking enforcement? Police officers can write the tickets. Generally, however, we're not so good at it, and we don't. I think I gave a dozen of them when I was doing a bicycle lane enforcement, but I generally chose to write them under the HTA, which were more impactful against the drivers than the parking tickets were. But yeah, we have parking enforcement officers. They're always looking for something to do, so we give them all the work we can. Dispatcher says, Happy New Year. Yes, hug some meach and Shana Tova to you too. Ashley says, if the chance came up, would you go back to working as an officer? It's not a chance. I could go back if I could meet the physical requirements. I was injured in a motorcycle collision on duty in 2018. Never really got back to the road. Well, never got back to the road because I was injured and I still suffer from residual pain from that. So I've thought about it because my heart is I miss it. I miss being a cop. I do. Not so much. Like I love what I'm doing too right now. But I do miss my life as a police officer. And I will say this, I don't miss the commute 3 hours downtown every day and back. I don't miss waking up at 4 a.m. every day because I was on a straight day situation, but it could have been different. I loved night shift when I used to do that. If I went back, I'd be back on the road and I think that would be awesome. But right now, I think I've got some good work to be done with what I'm doing. I'm helping people and businesses with their social media as a consultant. I also consult in the space of traffic safety. I'm an advocate for safety. So I'm still doing work. I'm just not being paid by police. And that allows me to say and do what I want. Like I would never have been able to go in front of Vaughan City Council and tell them what I told them as a member of the community, as a civilian, as a traffic safety specialist who isn't a police officer anymore. I can say whatever the hell I want, and that's good because I can now go into a position and hold people accountable. Whereas if I was a police officer, I'd be told to sit down and shut up and not get political. But I can be political now. I don't want to be a politician, but I can be political. I get to say what I want, and I get to tell people the truth. And that's really important. That freedom to speak is important. All right. Officer was there, still waiting on the other driver for info. Oh, yeah. Follow up with the officer. Say you need a copy of the involved parties. You can have your insurance company, if they gave you a report number, you can call the insurance company. They will pay for the report, but they should have provided you the other driver's information. You should not be waiting a week. It should have happened at the scene before you left. Ashley says, that's amazing. We all love your lives. I have learned a lot, and I had a lot that I had no idea about. Awesome. I'm glad that you got value. I had someone last night say, I'm new to the country. I found your channel. I'm so happy. I've had people who have become police officers because of watching me online. I'm becoming inspired to become a police officer. I'm so happy that my buddy, my Brazilian fan, is now with the Peel Regional Police after watching the show and going from cabinet maker to a police officer. It's amazing. I know I'm doing good stuff here. I know I'm helping a lot of people, and that makes me feel good. When I was a police officer, I got to do it because I was injured. But when I was on the road, I was stopping one person at a time. Here I'm educating thousands. And although now, there's 40 people in the live stream on TikTok and people on other platforms watching as well. But I used to have 40,000 people in a live stream, 5,000 people, rain or shine, even after the shift in the algorithm. 16,000 people was a regular live on TikTok. There are millions of people who know me, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that I meet people all the time saying, "You're that guy." I went to the Toronto Timepiece show. That's a watch show that featured all sorts of amazing micro brands of watches. I'm a big timepiece guy. I'm a contributor for Watch DNA, which is a website that teaches people about watches. Anyway, I went there, and like people are coming up to me going, "You're the guy that used to be a cop. You're the guy, the traffic guy," and it was just awesome. Absolutely awesome to meet people who have in some way interacted with the content that I've created in a positive way. So I'm thankful for my opportunity to give back. That's what I'm thankful for. All right, I am going to get out of here. I've gone over an hour by 12 minutes. It's not the end of the world, and I never got the press release, so I'll have to do a release on that later. Let's see here. Just double check to make sure it isn't here because I'll read it. If I got it, I read it. But it is in relation to my involvement with Sirius XM Radio. Really excited to announce that. And talk to you about reclaiming your commute. Yeah. If you're a commuter, you're going to like this. We'll talk soon. Back next Tuesday night for a live stream to do this all again. 9 p.m. Eastern time. Be there. And you can join the show. Instructions on how to do that will be in the show. It's a Zoom link. Yeah. Maybe we'll see you. Have a wonderful day. Drive safe, drive sober, and park legally, or Aaron Urquhart will come after you. Take care.